motion to terminate Keith Freeman.
And then, I mean, unfortunately, we knew it was going to be a little messy, but it's just something we felt important that had to be done, that should be done. So, but like I said, you have just some kind of...
All right, let's dive into the roller coaster that everyone is talking about. If you haven't heard the name Tiffany Henyard by now, you've probably been living under a rock. Henyard, the mayor of Dolton, Illinois, and supervisor of Thornton Township, has landed in the spotlight for all the wrong reasons. What started as whispers of mismanagement and questionable leadership has now spiraled into full-blown chaos, complete with restraining orders, federal investigations, and a community that's had enough.
Is it a reason why you guys are not paying whatever that vendor is?
What was it for?
It was for shirts. That's what it's...
So, what's really going on with this super mayor who once had a firm grip on the political scene? Is she about to lose it all? Let's break it down, because the drama runs deep. First off, let's talk about a shocking court ruling. Recently, a Cook County judge stepped in and put a stop to Tiffany Henyard's controversial appointments. That's right. She tried to quietly push through a new police chief, village administrator, and village attorney without getting the required approval from the village board of trustees. Sounds shady, right? That's because it was a blatant power grab. And the court wasn't having it. Judge Thaddeus Wilson didn't just give her a slap on the wrist. He hit her with a restraining order, blocking her from making any of those appointments.
The judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval.
This isn't just a small-town mayor facing a minor reprimand. This is a full-blown legal showdown. And what makes it even crazier? These weren't just insignificant appointments. We're talking about crucial roles that practically keep the town running. Henyard thought she could sidestep the system, but the judge made it crystal clear. She doesn't have the authority to do that. To make things even more intense, the judge warned her that if she keeps pushing these appointments, she could be held in contempt of court. While the judge stopped short of holding her in contempt today, the message was loud and clear. If she doesn't comply, consequences are coming. Just imagine a sitting mayor being found in contempt for blatantly ignoring a court order. That's next-level drama. But this isn't just about Henyard overstepping her legal limits. It's part of a much bigger picture of her mismanagement. This court ruling is a massive blow because it basically says, hey, your power isn't absolute, and the courts are watching. And it's not just the courts keeping tabs. There's a federal investigation brewing too. That's right, the FBI is on the case, looking into how she's handling both her roles as mayor of Dolton and supervisor of Thornton Township. And we all know, when the feds step in, things get serious. They've already issued subpoenas, and the investigation is laser-focused on potential corruption and financial mismanagement. They're digging into everything: employment records, financial transactions, and even contracts linked to Henyard's inner circle. Super mayor? The people's mayor? Well, here's where it gets really juicy. The investigation is exposing some seriously questionable spending. Word on the street is that Henyard has been living large, lavish trips, extravagant dinners, and who knows what else, all funded by taxpayers. But one of the most jaw-dropping discoveries? A whopping $4,000 splurged on Amazon in just one day. Seriously, who spends that kind of cash on Amazon, especially when it's not even their own money? The feds aren't holding back. They're turning over every stone, zeroing in on how Henyard has been managing, or, more accurately, mismanaging public funds.
A one-day purchase of over $40,000 to Amazon. And the main thing is...
And speaking of mismanagement, the people of Dolton and Thornton Township have reached their breaking point. Furious residents are taking to the streets, demanding answers and calling for Henyard to resign. And honestly, who can blame them? The town's general fund is drowning in a staggering $365 million deficit, while their mayor is allegedly using public funds for personal luxuries. Anyone would be outraged. But this isn't just about the money. It's about the secrecy, the lack of transparency, and the sheer mismanagement that has thrown these towns into complete disarray. The residents of the township are the ones paying the price for her actions. One of the most powerful expressions of their frustration: massive protests erupting across both Dolton and Thornton. Crowds are rallying, holding up signs that read, "Take our township back, and Henyard must go." And this isn't just a handful of upset locals. It's a fast-growing movement of people who feel betrayed and exploited by the very leader they trusted. And it's not just the residents. Even the trustees, the very officials who work alongside Henyard, have had enough. They were the ones who took her to court over her illegal appointments, and they're making it clear that they won't let this slide.
I won't know when we go through our board packets. It's like, some of the stuff, it's like you don't know exactly what it's for, and then when you ask the question,
Now, let's zoom in on one legal battle that's heating up fast. Enter Gerald Jones, a former employee of Thornton Township who's taking the township to court over retaliatory discharge. And his story? It's downright shocking. Jones claims that after reporting a rodent infestation at the township's food assistance program, he became the target of relentless harassment and threats from Keith Price, a close ally of Henyard Price, who was put in charge of the food program, allegedly made Jones's life a living nightmare after he exposed the rodent issue. The threats escalated to the point where Jones says he had no choice but to walk away from his job. This isn't just workplace bullying, it's straight-up intimidation. And what did Henyard do while all this was happening? Absolutely nothing. She stood by and let Price operate unchecked, painting a grim picture of the kind of leadership running the township. But Jones's lawsuit isn't just about his personal ordeal. It's about a much larger pattern of retaliation and abuse under Henyard's administration. His case sheds light on what appears to be a deeply toxic work environment in Thornton Township. And it's not just about one employee. More former staff members are now coming forward, sharing their own stories of harassment and retaliation, further exposing a culture of fear and abuse. And then there's Robert Collins, the township's former chief of police. Late last year, Henyard fired him without board approval. Now, he's suing the village. So, what's next for Tiffany Henyard? It's hard to say for sure, but one thing is clear. Her time in power is slipping away fast. With a court ruling against her, a federal investigation looming, and public outrage growing by the day, she's fighting battles on all fronts. And let's not forget the restraining orders. This isn't just about her making questionable appointments anymore. It's about the entire governance structure of Dolton and Thornton Township being called into question. Henyard's leadership is under fire, and the clock is ticking on her political future. During a recent address, Henyard made it clear that she's trying to maintain control, stating, "I'm about to address some things as the supervisor. There will be no comments, no discussion, just me informing you." But the reality? She's rapidly losing her grip. One local resident summed it up perfectly. Tiffany is losing her stronghold over the trustees, and she can't handle it. She got way too greedy, and her time is running out. That's exactly the sentiment on the ground. People are fed up, and they want change. Henyard's once tight grip on the Board of Trustees is slipping, and she's scrambling to hold on to whatever power she has left. With investigations piling up and lawsuits stacking against her, it's only a matter of time before everything comes crashing down. But her biggest problem isn't just the legal troubles, it's public perception. More and more people are speaking out, questioning how she's been able to drag this mess out for so long without facing real consequences. One viewer comment sums it up best. How is this crook still not behind bars when any regular person would have been locked up by now? More double standards in the law. And that question is only adding fuel to the fire of public outrage. But true to form, Henyard isn't backing down without a fight. She's come out swinging, with her personal attorney claiming she's the victim of a smear campaign orchestrated by a corrupt board of trustees. Her lawyer even suggested that this is nothing more than a political power grab, that the trustees are just trying to take over the mayor's office. It's a bold claim, but it's not gaining much traction. The evidence against Henyard keeps stacking up, and the more she fights back, the more people are convinced she's guilty of everything she's been accused of. Even after the restraining order was issued, reports say Henyard ignored it entirely, instructing her appointees to keep showing up for work, despite the court's ruling that they couldn't hold office. This kind of blatant disregard for the law is exactly why so many people have had enough of her leadership. It's one thing to make mistakes. It's another to act like the rules simply don't apply to you. So, what's next? The next court date is set for October 23rd, and there's a lot at stake. Will the court finally hold Henyard in contempt for ignoring its orders? Will the FBI gather enough evidence to take things further? Or will she somehow manage to slip through the cracks? Once again, no one knows for sure. But one thing's certain, this story is far from over. As we wait for the next chapter in this political saga, the people of Dolton and Thornton Township are left wondering what's next for their communities. They're sick of the scandals, the lawsuits, and the never-ending drama. All they want is a leader who will focus on fixing the town's financial disaster and restoring basic services. But with Henyard still clinging to power, it's hard to see that happening anytime soon. What do you think? Is Tiffany Henyard finally about to lose her position? Or will she somehow manage to hold on despite everything? More importantly, how long will it take before the people of Dolton and Thornton Township get the leadership they truly deserve? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep this conversation going.